The first time the phone rang, it didn't feel scary. Not yet, just wrong. The kind of wrong that sets your skin humming, like static before a storm. We had just finished unpacking the last box, labeled kitchen crap in Liz's handwriting, in the kitchen of our new, too big Victorian on Elm Street. The house was a steal. Everyone said so. We laughed about it, chalked it up to lucky timing. But in the quiet of that first night, the bargain began to feel like a bad joke we hadn't understood yet. The phone was an old relic, rotary dial, avocado green, mounted on the wall like some museum piece. We joked it was probably worth more than the house itself. But when it rang, an ear-splitting shrill that drilled into bone, it didn't sound like a joke. Liz answered. Her face, lit by the yellow kitchen bulb, changed instantly. Confusion, shock, then something close to fear. Hello, who is this? I smirked, waiting for her to laugh. Instead, she lowered the receiver like it was hot metal. That was me, she whispered. It was my voice, saying, tomorrow, the blue mug will shatter on the tile. I laughed too quickly. Wrong number doing a killer impression, babe. But the next morning, when my hand slipped and the blue mug burst into ceramic shrapnel across the kitchen floor, laughter wasn't so easy. By the second call, I stopped joking. This time, I answered. The voice was mine, but distorted, submerged in static, like talking through a drowning man's lungs. Tomorrow at 9:03, it said, the hall light will flicker 17 times. Don't let Mia look at it. Click. At 9:03 sharp, the antique sconce stuttered and blinked. Mia tilted her blonde head back, transfixed. Liz yanked her away just as the bulb hissed and died, leaving us in darkness. That was the night we stopped calling it coincidence. The calls came nightly, sometimes twice, always from the same phone. Always our voices, older, heavier, threaded with panic, telling us what tomorrow held. A flat tire, a ruined dinner, a man in a brown jacket we mustn't let in. At first, we obeyed every word. Each averted disaster felt like survival, but the victories were hollow. Fear was nesting inside us, feeding on our dread. Our dream home became a fortress. We double-locked doors, unplugged appliances, whispered through sleepless nights. And Mia, sweet 4-year-old Mia, was caught in the middle. The more I stayed awake, the more I noticed the house. The floorboards never settled into silence. The walls whispered in drafts that didn't match the weather outside. At night, the staircase seemed to groan with invisible steps. The neighbors didn't help. The old woman across the street, Mrs. Callahan, leaned on her cane and called to me one morning. Big house for such a young family, she said. Her cloudy eyes narrowed. Be careful with the mirrors in there. I laughed it off, but her words clung like cobwebs. Upstairs, the hallway mirror stood taller than Liz. Its gilded frame was cracked at the corner, like it had seen too much. Mia loved it. She danced in front of it, giggling, sometimes holding conversations with her other self friend. We told ourselves it was cute, just imagination. Kids see magic everywhere. But I started noticing small differences. Mia would wave goodbye to her reflection when we left the hallway. Only sometimes, the reflection's hand lingered a moment longer than hers. The phone didn't stop. It only got worse. Don't let Liz open the mail tomorrow. There's a photo from the accident. Don't talk to the man in the brown jacket. Don't even open the door. Each call bled into the next, warnings stacking into walls we couldn't see past. We lived like rats in a maze, scurrying away from invisible dangers. But one night, the voice wasn't panicked. It was broken. Liz's voice, choked with terror. Don't leave Mia in front of the mirror. Not for a second. Promise me. The words poisoned the air. Liz and I clung to Mia that whole next day like bodyguards. We shut blinds, locked doors, kept her close while she colored or napped. But houses have ways of distracting you. The oven timer beeped. The doorbell rang. Chaos in the kitchen. Liz reaching for the mitts. Me moving toward the door. It was seconds, maybe less. The porch was empty when I checked. But when I turned back, Mia was gone. I found her in the hallway, cross-legged before the mirror. She hummed to herself, staring into the glass. Mia, I screamed. The reflection turned its head, but Mia didn't. The smile that spread across the reflection's face wasn't my daughter's. It was too wide, too ancient. And then Mia, our real Mia, dissolved. Her body shimmered like dust caught in sunlight, scattering, vanishing into the glass. There was no sound, no flash, just absence. The reflection remained, sitting there in unicorn pajamas, smiling with black, depthless eyes. Liz's scream tore the house apart. She pounded the glass until her hands bled. The thing in the mirror only tilted its head, watching with mockery. I dragged her away. We collapsed on the floor, clutching each other, sobbing. And then, the phone rang. It was Mia's voice. Sweet, innocent. Daddy, I'm right here. Relief surged through me so violently I nearly dropped the receiver. Mia, baby, where are you? Her laugh trickled through the line. I'm right here, Daddy. The voice deepened, layering with others. Mine, Liz's, distorted and inhuman. We're having so much fun in here, it whispered. You should see this side. It's so much bigger. The line died. From the hallway, the mirror tapped. tapped. Once, twice. The reflection stood, pressing its small hand to the glass, smiling, waiting. The phone rang again. We didn't answer. We sat frozen in the kitchen, Liz's nails digging into my arm, the phone screaming, the mirror tapping. Days blurred. The house became a trap of silence and whispers. The phone rang whether it was plugged in or not. Sometimes, the mirror showed us things it shouldn't. Mia in a room that wasn't ours, lit by shadows moving in the corners. Neighbors stopped waving. Mrs. Callahan stopped coming outside. When I went to her door, it was boarded shut, like no one had lived there in years. Liz stopped eating. She sat in front of the mirror for hours, whispering Mia's name. One night, she whispered something else. I think she's happier there. Her eyes were hollow, reflecting the mirror's gold frame. I pulled her away, but her body felt weightless, as if she already belonged to the other side. It was midnight when the phone rang for the last time. I answered. This time, it wasn't our voices. Not distorted, not broken. It was Mia's giggle, then silence, then a whisper so faint it barely reached me. Daddy, come play. The line went dead. I dropped the receiver. It swung on its cord, hitting the wall with a dull thud. In the hall, the mirror glowed faintly, like moonlight on water. Liz was already standing in front of it, her palm pressed to the glass. The reflection pressed back, both smiling, both waiting. I called her name, but she didn't turn. And then the mirror opened, not like breaking, not like shattering, like breathing, expanding outward, pulling inward. Liz stepped forward without hesitation, and she was gone. The glass sealed shut. Now only I remain. The phone never stops. The mirror never sleeps. Sometimes I think I see Mia's face at night, watching me from inside the glass. Sometimes Liz's too. They smile, they beckon, and I know, one day, I'll answer.